Guess what, guys? Jeep is going hybrid! Hi guys, you're watching Porty with Dawn, and I am a car enthusiast that talk about the current and upcoming EVs or plug-in vehicles that I think is interesting enough to do a video on. If you guys are interested in EVs or plug-ins, please subscribe to my channel. I post a new video every week. The Jeep Wrangler 4XE is a product that was unthinkable even 5 years ago. It's essentially a plug-in hybrid version of the Jeep Wrangler. Okay, before we further discuss this vehicle, there are some headline specs that everyone should keep in mind first. The base model of the 4XE starts at $51,000 before any incentives. It does qualify for the $7,500 federal rebate and the state incentives as well. Just like most other plug-in hybrid vehicles, you could run this SUV in 3 modes. Primarily, hybrid mode, where the engine and the electric motors are working together, pure electric mode, or just the engine when you just completely depleted your battery. According to Jeep, pure electric mode offers about 21 miles of range from a 100% full battery at battery size of roughly 14 kilowatts. That works out to be about 1.5 miles per kilowatt. I'm sure this is by far the worst EV efficiency for any non-commercial vehicle with a battery and electric motor on sale today. It's not even close. But when you're talking about the Jeep Wrangler, which basically has the aerodynamic efficiency of a brick wall, that routinely gets less than 20 miles per gallon, and suddenly there's a possibility of averaging nearly 50 miles per gallon it's quite an interesting offering from Jeep. Realistically, you're looking at roughly $40,000 for this SUV after both federal and state incentives. If you're looking for a Jeep Wrangler to own and drive daily for at least more than 5 years, the economics behind it is reasonable and definitely worth at least considering. After all, why pay for more gas than you need to, right? But do keep in mind that how close you get to the EPA efficiency will depend on where you drive, how far you drive daily, and how often you're plugging in your Jeep. Same as all other plug-in hybrids, basically. The goal is to run off of electric power as much as possible. The whole point of buying a plug-in hybrid vehicle is because you're going to be plugging this in and using the battery energy as much as possible. Otherwise, you're better off getting a regular hybrid because you're not going to lug around a couple hundred extra pounds of battery and electric motors that you're not even going to use, which is awful for efficiency. I actually haven't been in a Jeep Wrangler since like 2015, and I'm quite impressed by the interior look and the quality of the current generation Wrangler. Everything you see looks like it's well put together and looks semi-premium and upscale. Gone are the days where a Jeep interior looks and feels like you're camping in a tent, a very basic tent. Let me put it this way, 10 years ago, you would never describe a Jeep Wrangler as comfortable. But the Wrangler nowadays is really quite comfortable with a soft and controlled ride and reasonably quiet cabin. I'm not suggesting for 1 second that you're going to mistaken this to riding in a BMW X3. But compared to its predecessors, the improvement to its refinement and daily usability almost feels like the Wrangler is in a separate segment now. That's how much things have improved. The thing that surprised me the most is considering how vertical the windscreen was, the wind noise was well controlled when you're not driving at illegal speeds. Driving the Jeep on pure electric power does take some getting used to. First of all, you're pretty much in shock that you're driving a Jeep Wrangler that's capable of running on just electric power. In EV mode, the initial surge of thrust is just like any other EV, strong and instantaneous. But unlike pretty much any other EV, the strong initial push lasts for a brief moment and there's nothing that carries on the thrust, almost like a diesel engine. It's quite a funny feeling. Initially, you think, wow, this Jeep feels quite light and peppy on its feet. Then you realize, that's only true up to about 15 miles per hour. When you inevitably need more power, and you try stomping on the accelerator pedal thinking you want the maximum power possible from the electric motor, only for the engine to kick in while you're in EV mode. The gas engine does not shut off automatically once you stop stomping on the accelerator pedal. For some reason, there are other publications that claim the integration between the electric power and the electric motor wasn't refined and quite clunky. That wasn't my experience at all. I thought the transition was actually quite smooth. I didn't really feel any disturbance in the power delivery when the Turbo 4 kicked in. Actually, the only way I knew the engine was working was hearing the Turbo 4 and also looking at the tachometer. The steering was classic Jeep Wrangler, extremely vague with little feedback, which is probably what you want for a SUV that can off-road better than pretty much any other SUV on sale. From a standstill, the maximum acceleration from both the engine and the electric motor felt quite powerful, especially from the inside of a Jeep Wrangler. I believe this is the second fastest Jeep Wrangler currently with a claimed 0 to 60 of 6 seconds, but there are reports that times as low as 5.5 seconds are attainable. This is just behind the insane and unnecessary Wrangler Rubicon 392 with a 470 horsepower V8, but also fuel economy and efficiency that is 400% worse than the Wrangler 4XE. Interestingly though, they both share the same torque rating at 400 pounds per feet. With an extra 800 pounds of battery and electric motor compared to its non-hybrid variant, I wasn't expecting much as I hurled into a corner, and I was right. Even at low speeds, when you try to corner hard in the Jeep Wrangler 4XE, the entire car leans and falls over spectacularly, almost to the point where you are about to fall out of your seat. I really think even minivans can corner harder than this Jeep. But with that being said, when you're driving this in its normal habitat like a normal person, commuting or transporting kids and pets, it's usable while being quite refined and comfortable. This is the one car garage type vehicle that can do it all. Suburban, urban, extreme weather environment, and off-roading. All in all, I'm quite fascinated by the Wrangler 4XE, and I'm really glad GM had the courage to give the green light to put this into production. It's such an interesting car because it's basically a walking contradiction. For Jeep's first ever EV offering, the Wrangler 4XE is far from perfect, but because of that, there's just so much more character. I really think you're never gonna be bored of owning this, and for that reason, I would definitely buy this over the regular non-hybrid variants. Alright, that's my feedback on how I felt about the G4XE. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the 4XE. See you guys next time.